Hi, it's Jeff.
And Denise from Mousesteps.com.
And this is episode number 280
280
of Mousesteps Weekly.
Sponsored by MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel. We're talking all about Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party this week. It's a really big show.
Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween, actually, times two. But check out MEI and Mouse Fan Travel for your autumn. It's hard to believe. I mean, it's just about fall. I mean, it's probably a month till fall, but check them out for Food and Wine, for Disney Cruise Line, Halloween on the High Seas, and then for Christmas, which is a couple months away now.
That's right.
It's almost time for Christmas here.
It really is. When you live here, you have to start thinking early for Christmas time.
So subscribe to their mailing list and find out about the various Disney deals. And they turned 20 this year. They've been booking Disney trips and other trips for 20 years.
That is tremendous.
It is.
And we've already been to the first two Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween parties. You could see the first one was sold out.
And by sold out, I don't think that they oversold the tickets at all. I think they undersold the tickets. So it was actually a really nice, once we got inside, it didn't feel busy at all.
Yeah, I found both parties to be relatively reasonable as far as the crowds.
Right. I mean, the second one seemed a little busier to me. There are 34 nights this year, as opposed to, I don't know what they had last year, but it's more.
Well, it's definitely a record. I think that's the most parties they've ever had. And definitely the earliest start, August 17th. Never that early before.
There have been times, certainly, they've started in September. I don't remember if a long time ago it might have been October as well.
So very important to pick up the guide map. It has all the times for the shows. It shows you where trick-or-treating is, all that stuff. So good idea to grab one of those right away.
And there's a lot to do. So sometimes we recommend seeing two parties if you can. And there is the Orange Bird. Okay, when you arrive, and you can arrive at 4 p.m. If you're DVC, you can arrive at 2 p.m. on that party ticket.
That's new this year, too.
Yes. You can go over to the Main Street Firehouse at any of those times and pick up this year will be an Orange Bird card.
Very nice card. I'm glad to see the Orange Bird getting recognition. Also, the Orange Bird is the pass holder pin this year.
Oh, right. And you ended up getting one of those. And here we are at the Main Street Bypass. We did not arrive before 4, but I'm guessing for DVC at 2 p.m. this would be open, and 4 p.m. for everybody else. And you get your first candy. You can do PhotoPass photos. So you can buy merchandise back here.
This is one of the best things that they have done. I think this started about 2 or 3 years ago, and it's really nice to be able to get a sort of a head start on your party, your first candy. You can get some, as you mentioned, the PhotoPass pictures. It's really nicely decorated back there as well.
Well, these statues used to be in the hub for everybody during the Halloween, just during regular Halloween, just like the pumpkins on Main Street, but they brought them back here maybe 3 years ago or so, 2 or 3 years ago. So that it was a party exclusive to get your photos here with with Goofy, with Minnie, with the different characters.
Now, this inflatable was not up during the second party, but there was big threats of rain. So sometimes when it rains, they'll move all this entrance stuff underneath the Tomorrowland terrace area.
Right, and when we came in here, they actually had 2 areas for candy. The second party, they only had one. Like right here. This is always going to be here.
Prepackaged, everybody gets the same candy. But this was a bonus, just handing out, a variety of candy. That only happened during the first party.
Right, as opposed to both parties. And then they also sell merchandise. And I think that was new last year that they started selling merchandise.
Right. And I would recommend do not try to deal with it. It's always crowded. It's not a comfortable purchasing. Just go to the Emporium. They'll let you shop for the special merchandise starting at 4 o'clock if you show your wristband to a special area. It's air conditioned, much more civilized shopping experience. And we'll show some of that merchandise later on.
Right. So much more merchandise over there. And we visited with different characters during the 2 parties. Jack and Sally, as usual, were our first meet and greet.
That is our tradition, party number 1. We line up for Jack and Sally. We got in line at about 4:20. Now, this year, Jack and Sally came out at 5 o'clock, which was much earlier than last year. Last year, it was closer to 7 o'clock at the very first party.
For the first party, because I think later on we were told that they would start meeting at 5. but the first party they didn't.
So it was. It still took us quite a while. By the time we got to meet Jack and Sally, it was about 6:45. So still over 2.5 hours. But it was worth it. Jack and Sally are always awesome. It would not be a Halloween season without saying my greetings to Jack and Sally.
And I think part of the reason that the line moves so slowly, they do spend time with every guest.
They're amazing.
Yes. So it's not, they talk to you and they, they get the pictures and everything.
And this is the 25th anniversary this year of A Nightmare Before Christmas. So even more popular than ever.
I forgot about that. Hocus Pocus and Nightmare Before Christmas.
Both are celebrating 25th anniversaries.
Isn't it? And it's not even noted at the party at all,
well,
which is very interesting.
It is noted during the Hocus Pocus show. They do make mention of 25 years. We'll talk about that later.
Okay, well, segment. I did not hear it. So, but it's just interesting to me. I forgot that Nightmare, and I know this, but I forgot it during the party.
In our lives of waiting for characters, some of the longest waits we've ever had are for Jack and Sally. Years ago, we waited for about 3.5 hours, I think, at the old downtown Disney. Remember that?
Well, that was like 5 or 6 years ago, I think. Now, before they started
meeting. That was their very first
mm-hmm.
appearance here in Florida.
It could have been even more than that. I mean, it could be 7 or 8, a long time ago. But Jack and Sally, really, I think this is the best of the meet and greets.
And they also have these special Oogie Boogie popcorn buckets. And we're going to take a look at our recommendation of where to buy them later. We didn't buy them in this location because it was a very big, long line. That was in Adventureland.
Tomorrowland. You want to go
but we're going to show you.
We're
going to show you. I have video of that. And of course, Tarzan and Jane were out in Adventureland doing a meet and greet. And I think Turk was there too.
I didn't see Turk, but we did see. We didn't meet them, but we were passing by, and they were just really kind of starting up their meet and greet.
Yeah, I had seen Turk the second day when I just walked by when you weren't with me.
Oh, okay.
And here is something brand new this year. It is the Disney Junior Jam. It's a dance party for Disney Junior, and they have a couple characters. Although one of the characters here, Timon, is not really, as far as I can tell, he's not really a Disney Junior character.
No, you know what? I don't watch Disney Junior all the time. Obviously,
you should be watching.
I do. You know what?
Vampirina.
I just reviewed Elena of Avalor, but I have no idea if Timon is on there. And we have Doc McStuffins here, so we've seen a little bit of
the doctor
of
is
her
in
shows.
the house.
Yes. So anyway, that's fun for little kids.
And right nearby are the Seven Dwarfs meet and greet in an all-new location, an air-conditioned location here in Pete's Silly Sideshow. And this was from party number 2. Once again, we got there relatively early. I think we showed up at about 24:30, something like that. And already the line was very, very long. We were told people started lining up at 3:30. So I don't even know how you can do that. I guess people hold the line and they take turns getting their wristbands.
The line wasn't too bad when we got there. It was almost 4:30 probably. So I think Jack and Sally's was much longer for the time frame. The Seven Dwarfs, it's nice having them inside because because it's so hot right now.
Giving you a break in the air conditioning is gold. It's I highly recommend that if you can do it.
And I don't know what the line is like during the party. I don't expect that it's, a 2.5 hour wait like we almost waited, at least 2 hours. But we were done before the party. So
right, and that's the key. If you can meet some of these big meet and greets and be done with it before the actual party time starts, it's worth the wait. And plus, we always seem to meet very nice people in line and have nice conversations. That's part of it too, is just, just talking with other Disney fans. Sometimes that's, you don't necessarily plan on it, but if it works out, it's a nice bonus.
Right, and there's
Sleepy.
Dopey.
Sleepy, I had to wake him up, and there's Dopey, and of course Grumpy. And once again, and I know you love it, but every year I ask for a bucket of diamonds, and every year he denies me. Curious Axel, our own Curious Axel, started that whole thing, so you can blame him for that running joke there.
You
Denise.
need to get a new
material.
Yes,
I promise for Christmas I will not ask that.
Okay,
we'll come up with something all new.
So for the characters, I think Moana might meet a little earlier as well. The Seven Dwarfs started meeting at 6:15. Jack and Sally were the earliest at 5, and I'm not sure about Moana, but at first I think she was a little earlier as well.
Now, this is a nice little bonus. And we've noticed that at a couple of the longer meet and greets, you actually get candy on the way out of the meet and greet. A little candy bonus.
Something extra.
So I thought that was nice. And here comes Daisy and Donald in their Halloween outfits.
And new this year, Donald, Daisy, you have Donald, Daisy, and Minnie, but they're not meeting. It's not like you meet Minnie and then meet Donald and Daisy. You have to get in separate lines for them.
And actually, that's not new this year. They started with that last
year.
Okay.
Well, I didn't know that. But I remember the way it was before, and that the lines seemed to move much slower. But I thought it moved much quicker this way, separate. How do I not know this? I don't even remember that.
It definitely moved much quicker. Well, I remember last year it was a big surprise because, as you said, it used to be you get all 3 characters for one wait. And here is Minnie in her usual witch outfit.
And this was not a long wait. I mean, we waited probably 5 minutes for her, just a few minutes for Donald and Daisy. Almost no wait at all at 7 p.m.
And this is one of the first years where we didn't meet Mickey because Mickey doesn't really talk much anymore. So we didn't bother meeting him, although none of these guys talk either. We're just so used to talking Mickey.
Well, it was special, so it isn't like we didn't want to meet him. It just we had other characters we wanted to meet.
Right. There was a huge amount of things going on. Even with 2 parties, it's hard to really do it all. And I think we're going to see. And there's Goofy in his pirate outfit. He debuted the pirate outfit last year. He used to have a different Halloween costume previously.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really nice costume. We didn't meet him. There were a number of characters we didn't meet. Actually, Pooh characters I would actually, if we went back,
may have to go back for party number 3.
Those are the ones I'd actually most want to meet besides Jack and Sally is the Pooh characters.
Now this big long line is for candy.
Don't get candy early in the evening because after fireworks there's not waits for candy.
Right.
You just
and plus
go
you don't
in
have
and
to carry it around as well.
And there is Ariel and Prince Eric. And they were coming in. Eric's like, "Oh, it's raining."
It was just starting to rain.
It was just
starting
to rain. Their line was fairly long, but not like Jack and Sally long.
And here is Gaston. What a nice guy holding the umbrella for Belle, or not holding the umbrella.
I thought that was funny. I put that on Twitter. It's like Belle holds her own umbrella. You know?
I think it would have been funny if Belle held her umbrella over Gaston as they walked out. Now that would have been funny. Here are some of the merchandise. I actually bought this shirt. I really like that one. And these are some more of, I think this is just a regular Halloween shirt. And the other one was a party exclusive.
And this is Tomorrowland and there's nobody here. So Jeff was mentioning as you're walking through the bypass, you don't have to buy merchandise there. Like right now, you could just buy it right here.
Right. I would never buy it at the bypass because it's just a swarm of people and it's nutty. Now, speaking of good tips, though, this is the popcorn area where you want to buy your Oogie Boogie popcorn bucket right here. We waited maybe 3 minutes at the most.
And this is a party exclusive at Disneyland. I don't know if they have it at Disneyland or not, but they will. They will be having it at Disneyland
for everybody when Halloween time starts.
But here it's only from Mickey's Not So Scary, and there is a popcorn bucket.
Yeah, here's a little tip too. If you don't want to sully your Oogie Boogie popcorn bucket, you're able to get regular popcorn on the side, so you keep it nice and clean.
So the $17.50 includes that popcorn, and we really just waited a couple minutes. It was terrific.
And here is Sully himself living his best life, that's as you said at the monstrous Scream-O-Ween ball.
Yeah, you have a variety of dance parties and such, and look at me, like
you were so happy to get that picture.
I was so happy to get out of his way too. But there is Mike Wazowski, and there's a variety of different. We saw. I don't know if we see Boo here. Did we see Boo? But yeah, we see. Here
yes,
too.
all sorts of characters are there, and here is Lotso, and Lotso is also in Tomorrowland. Getting back to that, the dance party we just saw, I think that's a little bit more lively than the Disney Junior one, in my opinion.
I totally agree. And maybe if Disney Junior was over in Tomorrowland, that would be different. Lotso tends to have a fairly long line, but not Jack and Sally type length. And here we are. Oh, we were meeting Elvis Stitch.
That's right. Now, Elvis Stitch is all new to the party this year. It took us about an hour, but our timing was perfect because right when we got in line to meet Elvis Stitch, it started to rain very hard. So it was nice to be undercover for that.
And we've met him
We've
before.
Met regular Stitch in this area.
Well, we've met Elvis Stitch at Disney's Polynesian Resort, and I wasn't like, oh, yeah, I'm meeting Elvis Stitch, but for some reason, he just seemed extra cute.
He was the highlight. I
He
think
was really fun.
right up there with Jack and Sally. He was fantastic. We had mentioned that he really needs to get his guitar out to sell the whole Elvis thing, and he ran with that. He's great. He gives all the guests we were watching. He gives all guests lots of time. Just a really fun character to meet.
I thought this was a really good meet and greet. And during, let's say you decide not to see fireworks, or if you're going to two parties in one night, you don't do fireworks. These meet and greets should be a little less crowded at that time as well.
Definitely. Because we were walking by later in the evening for the Stitch line. At least I was for some reason, and there was almost no wait to meet him. So it's all about timing. And here you have a bonus candy. A little candy giveaway too, a little trick-or-treating bonus.
And the ones that we've had, they're only the regular M&Ms.
Always M&Ms.
Yeah, so that's very interesting.
And you can see you're way in the back. It's kind of spooky back here, way in the back of Tomorrowland as you exit the. I guess it's sort of like a emergency exit, really, from the attraction.
I didn't think it was too spooky. I guess if somebody like popped out
It's
at me,
very dark. It's very, very dark, and the
be.
music is ominous. Now we're going to talk about 3 of the rides were specially themed for Halloween, and this first one is the Pirates of the Caribbean.
We're starting with the least themed
That's
of
right.
all
The
of
least
them.
themed. This was the one that we would not recommend. This is where you're going to be looking for Gunpowder Pete, which is a new character, and you have this pirate here telling you to beware of Gunpowder Pete. There is a reward for him, and he seems to want to get the majority of the reward, 90-10 in his favor, I guess.
Why do we want to find him anyway?
That part has not
I
been
don't
explained.
know.
It is not explained. All you know is he's wanted, and if you find Gunpowder Pete, he will give you 10% of the reward.
Well, we didn't get it, but
Well, we did. We should have
gotten
because
it.
we did find, and you'll see in just a second, we did fully find Gunpowder Pete.
if you want to ride Pirates of the Caribbean during the Mickey's Not So Scary, go ahead and ride. But don't stand in line for like a half hour, because there were long lines. We've seen long lines here for it, thinking that it's going to be that different, because it isn't.
It will not blow your mind. It's not like a fully Halloween themed attraction.
Well, they called it an overlay, but it's not an overlay. So I guess we're still looking for Gunpowder Pete here.
And here he is. You're going to see him up on this bridge here. And there's Gunpowder Pete. We found him. And depending on how your boat goes, he might yell at you and make comments to your boat. But if the timing is wrong, he will talk to a different boat, and you will not really get to see as much of Gunpowder Pete. So that is also a limitation of this.
Honestly, I couldn't really see him anyway. So
It's very hard. He's very dark.
I can see, like,
very
here
dark.
you're making
I
it
had
look
to lighten
lighter
it
than
very
it
much
is.
to see Mr. Pete there. So.
And that's it. But then I rode the Mad Tea Party. You have not ridden the Mad Tea Party.
No, I have not, but I feel like I have because of your excellent video job that you did. And I did watch it from the sidelines. I think this is great. The lighting, the music. This was to me 1,000 times better than the so-called overlay for the Pirates.
And this is nothing fancy. I think when we go to Disneyland Paris, that is going to probably blow me away even more, because they just did all this great lighting. But this was still fun. I do like the teacups, and there was no wait, so I just kind of jumped on. There's special lighting, there's special music. So it was cute.
It was very nice. Like I said before, this was definitely a plus that I thought was worthy. And they also had the characters out around it, so you had a full atmosphere, just a fun kind of like a party atmosphere all around the attraction.
And I didn't wait. There was no wait when I was over here. I could have ridden it over and over again. So I assume by the end of the evening, that's the way it's going to be.
And here we have the Evil Queen and Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
And Mad Hatter and Alice also meet, so you really have a nice wide range of Alice in Wonderland characters. No Cheshire Cat, though. You see him over
You
at
have to go to
Paris.
Disneyland Paris for that, and I like this kind of Evil Queen chasing after them, keeping them in line, so to speak.
She always looks so mean.
Well, she is. She's the evil queen.
Yes.
Not the nice queen. And that's what I made mention earlier about the whole atmosphere. So it's just, it's a fun atmosphere. Now we're going to go over to the very last of these overlays. And this is going to be called Space Mountain, Deep Space Mountain. And this really was the best of the 3. I know you didn't get to ride. I ran over there probably with about 5 minutes left in the second party, and it was still about a 20-minute wait. So, we had to divide and conquer to see it all, and we may have to go back, but this was really good. It was in complete pitch darkness, and I mean total darkness. Even the little bits at the beginning when you go around the corner, when they take your picture, even when you land normally, I mean, you couldn't see a thing. And it was really, even me, who I know the track really well, it was pretty intense. Plus the music, they had a really spooky rock soundtrack. I loved it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I did remember where the picture was, so I was able to sort of pose. The lines were about between 20 and 40 minutes all night. So if you don't care about the fireworks, like we said earlier, or if you don't care about the midnight Hocus Pocus show, you can run over at the very end of the night. That would be the best to sort of maximize your time.
And we're going to talk about just one of the magic shots at the moment that you can get for PhotoPass. They have quite a few of them, and we'll talk about more in a little bit. But Jeff is here in front of the Magic Kingdom with the Headless Horseman.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite ones. You just go out. Usually there's not a lot of people there later on in the party because everyone's inside. But you just go out in front of the train station. They'll take your picture. And in a day or two, maybe earlier, you'll get this awesome magic shot.
I know how much you love that one.
And it's only for party nights, exclusive to the party.
And we headed to Starbucks. We wanted to try one of the exclusive treats. This is the not so poison apple or something like that cupcake.
It should be called the Mickey's Very, Very Sweet.
It is really sweet. So you want I don't want to even say 2, if you have 3 or 4 guests on it, because it's a giant cupcake.
Bigger than it looks in this picture.
Yes, and it's like a spiced cake and then a ton of buttercream on top. There's some kind of odd crunchy. I didn't really like the crunchy part of it as much.
I thought the crunchy was pretty good, actually.
But anyway, you can get your Starbucks rewards points if you go to the Main Street Bakery and get that, but definitely split it.
So here he is now. It is the Headless Horseman, and he rides before the parades, weather permitting. And this was the very first ride of the season for the Horseman from party number 1.
And this is something that we always make sure that we see him. We're in Town Square watching the Headless Horseman go by. Town Square is not always my favorite place to do parades because it takes about 15 to 20 minutes for the parade to show up. So you're going to lose 15 to 20 minutes of party time by being here, although it's actually a good location as well just for photos.
Well, it's great for lighting, and also, depending on where else you watch it, you may not get to see the Zootopia Party Patrol that we're seeing now. That only starts on Main Street. So anything before Main Street, you will not see the Zootopia characters.
So if you start, let's say you go to Frontierland, you'll have a lot more party time. But if you're in Frontierland, you won't see Zootopia characters.
Right.
Which, I mean, it's a trade-off. And
they give you candy. These guys have sacks of candy, so a little extra bonus. Not that we need more
lollipops. If you want, you can have 20 minutes more of party time to go collect chocolate.
Right. So it all depends what you're looking for. I like both ways. I like to do it this way for video, and I like to do it the other way to just move on to the party. Anyway, it is the Mickey's Boo to You Halloween Parade, and here are the initial opening characters. New this year, though, we have
Flynn Rider was new,
and Rapunzel.
And Rapunzel are together and new, and I think that they're the only ones that are new this year. There's actually quite a few new elements to the parade this year. Some of them small, and some of them a little bit bigger. But it was nice to see Flynn Rider out.
And with the addition of Flynn and Rapunzel, you'll see the different masks. And Flynn had a Maximus mask, and Rapunzel had Pascal. So there you go. And here comes the classic opening float. You have Mickey and Minnie and Donald and Daisy. And you could see that Donald and Mickey have had wardrobe changes from where they are meeting throughout the park.
Right. Especially Donald looks so different. I think, what does Mickey meet in? Sort of like
his big Halloween, his main Halloween outfit.
I totally forgot because we didn't see him this year.
That's right. Well, it's purple.
And here are so Peter Pan and Wendy and all the Peter Pan characters used to be on a ship.
The pirate ship, and that pirate ship made its debut at the old Pirates and Princess party back in 2007. That was a whole different party they tried to do, and it only lasted a couple years. But from that party, this float also debuted, only played with the party, and now we're getting it here at the Boo to You Parade.
And that was a Disney's Enchanted Adventure Parade.
Correct.
That was 10 years ago that it ended the Pirates and Princess parties. It only lasted a couple of years. I think it would have done really well if they continued to do them.
It was a really fun party, and Tinkerbell had that exact spot back in that parade.
And Tinkerbell has not been part of Mickey's Boo to You Parade. I don't know if she ever has, like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, but certainly in recent years she has not. And here you have the flag wavers.
Right, and that part is completely the same from previous pirate segments, but you can see the pirate ship back there. That has changed because now you have the pirates on it, Captain Jack Sparrow and also Barbossa. Usually they were on this rock float, and a rock float has been retired.
And it's funny because I totally forgot, but this is was this where Smee was?
Smee would be here, and also Captain Hook and Peter Pan and Wendy, and they had a whole thing. Go back to our previous videos and you can check it out.
You know, I totally forget from year to year at times. I know he was like higher on a rock.
Well, Captain Hook was the captain of this ship before, and you're right. The Captain Jack Sparrow was on the rock, so no more rock. I don't know what happened to that.
Well, Tinkerbell's here, so I guess that's what happened. But we have the Grave Diggers, this is one of my favorite segments of the parade.
Oh, yes, the Haunted Mansion segment, a classic, and I love the Grave Diggers, especially when they take their shovels and they do the little thing on the ground with the sparks and all that. Just so much fun.
And that, again, one of my several favorite segments of this parade, and we're going to see also to the right are the tombstones.
And apparently you can meet the Gravediggers, although we did not find them at either party, but I guess sometimes they are out for photos.
Well, we weren't out. I mean, we weren't in that area too often, but there are some nice little meet and greets at the party.
And here we have the ballroom dancers. And again, this is why I like to be in this area because they're nicely lit here. It's very well lit. Some other areas, it's very hard to see them because, especially in the darkness, it's hard to get the details of them.
I do like the lighting here, and we're coming up also on the Hitchhiking Ghost, and they're also in the Frightfully Fun Parade at Disneyland.
Yes,
which is a really fun parade as well.
A great parade, and that parade, the Frightfully Fun Parade, has a Nightmare Before Christmas segment. Too bad we couldn't have had that here because, especially for the 25th anniversary, it would have been fantastic. But again, I love the Hitchhiking Ghosts. They're one of the highlights of the Boo to You Parade.
No, I totally agree. And I just want to mention, while we're looking, we've got the cowboys and cowgirls coming up here, that the Disneyland has so much Halloween, even if you aren't doing the parties. If you don't do a party, you still get Halloween in both parks and lots of meet and greets. So I definitely recommend that if you can get out to Disneyland as well.
And here is something new, your very favorite. It's Clarabelle Cow in a new outfit for the Boo to You Parade. I think it is scrumptious.
No, don't say that. Like, okay, I hate the scrumptious.
Love it.
That's like the worst part of the Christmas parade for me.
And Mariah Carey for the Christmas show.
I really, you know what? I liked her here. I liked her a lot here. I thought the dancing, I just thought that was really a fun touch. New costume, new music.
She is a multi-talented diva, that Clarabelle Cow.
Yes.
Who would have thought?
Well, I hope that they give her a new song because scrumptious, especially when you're doing it, is not good for me.
You know, she needs to dance with Left Reindeer. Can you imagine Left Reindeer and Clarabelle? Well, we're getting off topic.
Yes, we're
back to Boo to You.
We're still here at Boo to You. We just saw Brer Rabbit, Brer Fox, Brer Bear, but now we're seeing Clara Cluck. She's in her usual spot. And
the barn float. This barn float has been around for decades, I say.
And not only in this parade, but in other, and she's always in it. So here we have Wreck-It Ralph, and new this year, he's talking.
And he has a different look too. His face has more expression in it because I think we've heard the Wreck-It Ralph 2 coming out, so they've had to change him. And Vanellope has a different look in her as well.
And I hadn't even noticed that as much as that he's vocalizing now, which he hadn't been doing.
And we say it every year, but this float many moons ago was the Cruella dog catcher float.
Yeah, and I remember that. I mean, that was probably over 10 years ago now.
We've shown it in previous Halloween shows, so if you care about that, just you can look at some of the old ones. And here we have, I guess you can call them the Candy Girls.
Well, are they Sugar Rush dancers or something?
That sounds
possibly?
Better. Yes,
I think that sounds, yeah. And I think the way they look now might be like 2 years old now, maybe since last year, because I think they
Fairly
had something
recent.
different.
Yeah, I think last year was the first year for that. And here is the Vanellope with a slightly different look to her.
And Goofy used to be always the one to drive this candy bike or whatever.
Well, he
you would
still
call
does.
it.
You could still see Goofy in the
Christmas.
Christmas parade in this on this candy machine.
But
here.
during Halloween, he used to be here too. So
Until Vanellope kicked him out to the curb.
Pretty much. So
Is Goofy even in the parade? I don't think he is.
I can't think of no, I don't remember him being in this parade. Probably not. So here are the hyenas from The Lion King.
Yes, they are great. I love that. They actually were meeting at a DVC event earlier this year, which was pretty cool.
And right here, this is actually my favorite segment
It's good
overall.
to be back.
Yes, I love that. I used to think they sang "It's good to be back," but it's not back. It's bad.
Right? And they had a show, a stage show called the Villains Dance Mix and Mingle, and this was one of the big songs from that. So it was adapted for this segment of the parade.
And you hear a lot of that music now at Disneyland Paris during their Halloween as well, which I really enjoy.
And
then
Pain and Panic.
Yes, on the back. And then you have all these characters like Oogie Boogie. This probably is like third year here in Bowler Hat Guy also. And then you have Cruella and Dr. Facilier.
The number one complaint I hear from party guests is they wish there were more villains meeting during the party. So it would be very nice if you could meet all of these characters. The only one that we're looking at now, actually, Cruella does Rome.
So the Queen you can meet.
The Tremaines. I forgot the Tremaines are roaming. They're roaming this year.
Right.
I forgot.
A number of them are roaming now. So here is Maleficent, and Maleficent will be able to meet at Disneyland Paris, and that would be a nice one. I think did she used to meet here? I thought she did.
Years ago, I think you had to pay extra. She met at a special event in the castle.
Right, and
it's a new look starting last year. She used to have an orange outfit, so she's been more updated since last year. And here we have our final villain of the parade.
The Evil Queen.
Evil Queen is right. And there she is. And the scariest part of the parade is coming up, and that is the huge crowd following the parade, especially on parade number 2. A massive crowd will follow it and swarm out.
Everybody leaves on that second parade. So many guests leave. But again, Disneyland Paris, we're going to meet a lot of villains there, which will be very nice. And this is Hallowishes, the Halloween version of Wishes. And it's funny because it used to be, and I still enjoy this fireworks show, but it certainly looks, as soon as it Happily Ever After started, which is incredible with the projections, it now looks kind of dated.
Right, it is. Well, because, when you see Happily Ever After with these tremendous projections, I mean, everything moves. This is just, it's
basic.
It's very basic. That's the word I was looking for.
That's such a Belgian word. I feel like because our Belgian friends love to use the word
Belgian
basic.
Influence. But it's still the music is fantastic. And you talk about Disneyland Paris. A lot of this music is used at the Disneyland Paris Halloween celebration as well. So I mean, it is still a great fireworks show. And what we're about to see, the finale, is still amazing. I love it every time.
And you hear songs like the Grim Grinning Ghost.
Everybody scream!
The Cruella de Vil. There's a lot of good music, a lot of good fireworks, but I think it would be nice to see in the future if they could maybe add a little bit more realistic looking projections, more in the vein of a Happily Ever After or Disney Illuminations.
Now, the fireworks themselves are phenomenal. You still have the 180-degree fireworks that shoot off all around, so it's still pretty amazing to be there in person when you see the show.
They used to do 360 many years ago, but they had to stop, like the monorail had to
and
stop.
The boats and
right.
Oh yeah, it was a real nightmare as far as all that. So this is fine. I mean, when you're in the park, you can't even really notice.
You wouldn't notice because then you have to look backwards, So it's just interesting to me that it's been that long since then.
So now we're going to head over to the Haunted Mansion. Of course, it's a Halloween party, and the Haunted Mansion has special lighting, and also one of our favorite little bonuses here is Madame Carlotta has made an appearance.
And I actually didn't see her this time. We were going to go over, but it started raining, so we decided not to at that time. I wanted to see it before it got too dark, but when you saw her,
It was very,
it
very
was really
dark.
dark.
This teaches me next time we have to go to
Dusk.
at dusk or earlier,
that'd be nice.
because as you can see, I had to lighten it up very much just to see her. Very, very dark, but she did have an umbrella, so if it rained, she would be the only one that was okay in that situation.
I'm not sure that her umbrella would work for rain.
And also Butler Broom was there. We didn't see him, but we have in other years, and if we do go to another party, which we probably will, we'll make sure to show them. Now let's talk about these magic shots. This is a shot you can get any night, but because we did it during the fireworks, there was maybe a 3 to 4 minute wait, so we took advantage of it to get this particular shot.
Look, you always look extra scared. Like,
They tell me, they say you need to look up and be scared. I'm no actor. That's the best I can do. Now this is a special shot. I think I may be wrong, but I think this is just for the party.
I you know what? I think these are all just for the party. Look at you! Look how scared you are.
That's a ghost. A ghost. Wouldn't you be? How come you're not scared to see a ghost driving that hearse? This is my favorite though. This new Hatbox Ghost is excellent. I really like this one. Not the best look in his hat box, but the effect itself is great. And you won't let me put up yours, which I thought were much nicer. But
You know, I have to get used to them because it's so weird seeing my head.
Disembodied head?
Yeah, no, don't say it like that. No, I just mean it's just weird, just the little bit of head there.
Well, my recommendation is fireworks worked for us. It was perfect. We got all of that done in about 6 or 7 minutes. Here we have the Cadaver Dans, more entertainment that you can see around the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party.
And it's always nice to see them out. We don't always each year stumble upon them, so it was fun to get to see them.
Well, I like it because you can actually hear Boo to You sang live, so that is very special. We're looking at some projections around the party. This is in Tomorrowland, and because we're in Tomorrowland, we're going to show some trick-or-treating. This is new this year in the Monsters, Inc. Laugh Floor area. The attraction is not running during the party, but trick-or-treating is, and you get a number of treats here. It's air conditioned, and I always like the treat trails where you can go through an attraction. I think that's the most fun.
And the funny thing was, they didn't tell you which way to go, so we all went the
We got
wrong
lost.
way.
I
We
didn't
got
show
lost
that.
the
We
first
did
time.
get lost, but this is really very nice. I mean, we don't get in here all that much, so it was nice. And if you wanted to, you could sit down, relax. There was no rush to move anywhere. You can see most people are kind of walking through, but you have some people sitting, relaxing, having some candy. It's a nice place, and especially if it's raining, that's a great place to go and kind of relax.
And it's nice to be able to sit there without being called on or something.
You
and
don't
not-
have to be that guy.
No.
Don't worry about being that guy.
And-
Again, more projections.
Yep, and it's fun to walk around. I noticed a little bit more newer projections this time around as well. But here we are at PhilharMagic. Mickey's PhilharMagic has, I think, one of the best. I don't want to say treat trails, if that's. I mean, it's sort of like a trail.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Numerous treats when you go through it.
But this is probably my favorite that we've done this year. And so you get to have treats at a various amount of stations.
Right, and it's also a great idea if it's raining. You can go get some treats, get out of the rain. You have a little bit of air conditioning. In this one, they are actually showing Halloween shorts, like The Wind in the Willows here with Mr. Toad. So you can sit, relax, watch a movie, wait out the rain, and get some more candy if you want.
You don't have to just wait out rain. You could just wait out the heat, or
Right,
just
or
enjoy,
anything. Exactly,
enjoy
exactly.
some cartoons. So this is actually another reason this is one of my favorite spots.
So now it's time for the Hocus Pocus Villain Spelltacular. Absolutely one of the highlights of the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party.
And I didn't actually watch this whole show this year. You've seen it probably at least twice now.
No, I only saw it the one time, but I
Oh.
saw it from the front row. I got there about an hour before this show started, so I got there a little after 11. This was the midnight show, and I just wanted to get a good recording. Plus, I like seeing it up close. So to me, I didn't need to see it again because I wasn't going to see it any better than what I did.
Well, what I like is the music, and I like to stand back a little bit further away from too much of the crowd. I really like the lighting on the castle. So you really need to be farther back to kind of see the whole castle and the webs and the lights and so much going on. So whether you're close or whether you're far, you can really enjoy the show. There's a lot of different villains in here. Right now we're seeing Dr. Facilier. They're making a party potion, and they have to bring all their frightful friends along.
And speaking of frightful friends, here we have Mr. Oogie Boogie.
Yes, Oogie Boogie comes in. He is one of the major. There's like what, three different characters that are really major: Dr. Facilier, Oogie Boogie, and Maleficent, I believe. And then you have other frightful friends as well.
Right, we're going to see all of them in just a minute. Now, you mentioned before, this is the 25th anniversary of Hocus Pocus, and they did make reference to it earlier on in the show, and they said it's been 25 years since they last appeared, and the crowd went really nuts, so it was really nice to see the 25th represented in some little form.
And the funny thing is, I didn't see it till last year, the movie. I didn't see the movie till like last year. But also, it didn't do that well in theaters when it first opened.
It's a cult classic,
it's become a cult classic, and I think it's become more and more popular through the years.
And here comes a bunch of the villains, and they're face character villains, so they're even better than the villains you'll normally see around the park.
Right, like, well, Captain Hook is not a face character ever, and in this one show he is. But we have Cruella, who she's in the parade. She's a walk around character. She's in the show, so she's all around. And then we have Captain Hook here, who is not a face character in the parade or anywhere else. And I think that's really an interesting way to have him. And I'm surprised they haven't utilized him more as a face character elsewhere.
Right, and also right here,
Jafar. We see Jafar. He does meet and greets during Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, but not as a face character as well.
So very, very nice in here is Mrs. Tremaine. She is always a face character. It would be very scary if she wasn't.
But you never know, like Fairy Godmother in Tokyo is not a face character, and that is sometimes the characters don't translate as well without the faces.
Now, something to keep in mind, if you go to an earlier party in the season, they have 3 Hocus Pocus shows per party, but later on, when it gets darker earlier, they will add a 4th show. So, and I think it's about October, and around October, the beginning of October, you'll have 4 Hocus Pocus shows per party.
And the midnight showing, if you go to midnight, you won't miss any of the party because the party ends at midnight. So that's our recommendation, is to do the midnight one, even though it can be crowded too, but it's probably not as crowded as the earlier ones.
Yeah, I would say especially later on in the season, after there are 4 Hocus Pocus shows, definitely go with the midnight show.
Right. And again, I mean, you can trick or treat up until exactly midnight, and then that all stops, and all of a sudden the show starts. And it's just like during Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. I believe the castle show there, Mickey's Most Merriest, also starts at midnight.
Yep, same exact situation, and same advice too. We would always recommend that. This is a great show. The one thing I would love, and I don't think it's something they can really do, I'd love to have meet and greets with these characters. All the villains, the Sanderson sisters. That would be so awesome. Although I have a feeling it would be very long lines.
Yeah, just
pandemonium, probably.
It wasn't too crazy for Villains Mix and Mingle when they had that. I mean, it was busy, but not crazy. And in Disneyland Paris, they have something like that where they do the show and then the villains come off stage and you meet them.
Right, you referenced the Villains Dance Mix and Mingle, which was the previous castle show, and all the characters after the show, like now, would come down and do a meet and greet. Now let's look at some of the Hocus Pocus Villain Spelltacular merchandise. You just saw a shirt and a muck. I guess they call those spirit jerseys.
Oh, yeah, I don't have any of those.
We're too old to know what that means.
I'm not too old, but I don't totally understand it either.
I like the cauldron mug, though. I think that's very nicely done. And some of the stuff, like these shirts, I believe are available not just during the party, but all the time.
Well, no, I think these are party shirts.
Oh, okay.
So the Disney Store a couple of years ago had shirts that looked just like this.
Maybe that's where I was confused by it. Okay.
And I don't know if they're exactly the same, but they're pretty close. So, and those were like limited release shirts, but now they have them here. And there was a limited release pin as well as this really kind of fun ornament.
And you could see not that crowded here. This was probably about 1:15 in the morning. And if you're interested in the limited edition pins, those are usually behind the registers. You have to ask for those. And you can see still a good amount of people here at about 1:40 after the first party.
And I will say it's harder than ever with the tripods because the PhotoPass photographers pretty much stay till the very, very, very end of the evening.
Like 1:45 they left at party number 1 to get this shot you're about to see here. That was about one. Actually, I take it back, about 140. Anyway, that is another year of Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. We had a great time, and we may just make it back for party number 3 coming up in the next few weeks.
You know what? I wouldn't mind getting back just really for a fun party where I can take pictures and kind of do.
Well, you need to ride Deep Space Mountain.
Right, I haven't done that yet, and you haven't done the teacups,
right.
So there's still quite a bit left we haven't done. But thanks to our sponsor, MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel. We really appreciate them. Check them out for more if you want to go to the Halloween anywhere. I mentioned Disneyland. Disneyland has a fantastic Halloween, and
Disneyland
Cruise
Paris.
Line, and
we will be
Disneyland
there
Paris.
For the kickoff of their Halloween.
And that's still just over a month away, which is hard to believe because we're like knee deep and we're almost done with Halloween now for us.
Yeah,
here.
it's almost food and wine time this week.
This week, right, is food and wine. We're going to be talking about that next weekend. I'm not even sure everything we're going to talk about yet, but a lot of it will probably be food and wine related. I'm looking forward to seeing the changes there this year.
And another thing this week that'll be a first for us is we're going to see the Hoolie.
Oh, the Great Irish Hoolie.
Irish Hoolie.
Over at Raglan Road, which is next weekend. So there's a lot going on for us this week, but it's just kind of, I haven't even had time to think about it because I'm so
engrossed in Halloween. Full Halloween.
So just to think about what's coming ahead, I haven't done that. I just can't believe food and wine is like right around the corner this week.
Days away.
Yes.
Anyway, thanks everyone for listening. Have a great week. Happy Halloween, and we'll see you all next week.
Have a great week.